Hi, I decided I'd make another video in response to your posting regarding this producing hyperlinks problem. It's an interesting problem because it's a data management problem more than the programming on it isn't really that difficult. It's just the volume of data, which is something I've always found an interest in, just to be able to handle. I usually use hardware that's not the top of the line stuff. Basically, I'm running this program on a Lenovo G50. It's got an AMD processor, and it's, I got it at Best Buy for $300. So usually when I do my programming, if I can get it to work on this, I can take it to other people that have commercial grade or even just upper level home use computers, and I know that my programming should usually work. It's not going to freeze up or anything if I can get it to work on this end. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through the example here. I've got 3 buttons. So this is a folder that I posted in response, or a workbook, I'm sorry. This is a workbook I posted in response, and so there's a button called Create Maps Folders, and what it's going to do is it's going to make the maps directories. And so I'm going to have a base folder called ! !! maps that it's going to put on my hard drive. And hopefully that base folder name doesn't conflict with anything you have on your computer. I wouldn't think it would. And then underneath that, it's going to make 35 first level subfolders. And then underneath each first level subfolder, it's going to make 40 second level subfolders. And then underneath each second level subfolder, it's going to make 3 third level subfolders. And based on your description, you're only getting to second level. So you have a base folder, then you have 35 subfolders, and then you've got 99 second level subfolders under each first level. So this is a little bit more aggressive example, but if it works here, it should work on your end, I would think. So I'll go ahead, and the first thing I do is I'll create the maps folders. It's got a delay set in. That's how I've kind of handled some of the, this down here was freezing because of my video, I think. So after 500 cycles, it hesitates for a second, and then it starts again. So when it started, it kind of froze up the video, but then now you notice it'll hesitate every now and then, and it's giving itself a break, and then the video card doesn't freeze up. It just keeps going. So then I can always see that it's still running. I just don't see that spinning circle. I can at least actually see something's progressing. And so it makes the maps folders. Then the next one, this generate hyperlinks, is the actual program. And I've built into that a couple of prompts. One is you can limit the number of cycles it's going to do. So if you're ending up in a continuous loop, you could limit it to 10,000 cycles, and once it reaches 10,000, it'll stop and then advance forward. And that way you won't get caught with your computer running for 6 hours. And then the other one is you can tell it how many cycles you want it to do before you put in a 1 second hesitation. For this create maps and remove maps folders programs, those are just for this example. They've got after 500 cycles, they delay for a second. And the create maps creates the folder structure, like I said, and the remove maps just removes that folder structure from the hard drive without using the recycle bin. It just deletes them off, and that way you kind of skip a step, and it's a little bit quicker, I think. Okay, so it made it, and so my base folder is this __ maps. So I'm going to go here to my hard drive and just check to see how many folders that subfolder has in it before I run the generate macro, just to make sure I know how much work I'm undertaking here. So we're at 5635. That's how many folders are in that directory. So I come over here, and I'm going to go down to A5640. And as you can see, it's filled it in. It's 5636 because it includes the base folder in here. So there they are, all the folders. So we can go back up here to A1. And then I'm going to generate hyperlinks. So it's going to go through, limit the program to how many cycles. I'm going to say 10,000. So I exceed the number of folders. And then I'm going to just leave the delay at 500. And then I'll pick the maps. Okay. And now it'll run through. And the one thing to notice down here is this is one of the issues if you think it's getting caught in a continuous loop. like it's regurgitating the same information. The way this thing's written is it starts off with the subfolder, with the base folder. Then it does the first level subfolders. And then once those are done, then it looks at each first level subfolder to see if there's any second levels. And if there are, it produces that information. Then it goes through the second level to see if there's any third. So it does each level complete each round. So for it to get caught in a loop, it would have to be doing the first level and then do the second level along with the first level or something. And I've tried this with the subfolders, having the same names, duplicating folders and stuff, and it's never got caught in a continuous loop. So I'm not sure exactly what's happening on your side, if it's just freezing up and it's not moving forward. But that limitation on cycles should at least help you to see whether or not that's what it's doing. And then here, it doesn't have any hesitation. It's telling you it's making the hyperlinks now. This goes pretty quick, so it doesn't need any hesitations in it. And it'll get up to 30. Oh, let's see. It'll get up to 9, I guess. And there they are. So it's got all the hyperlinks, and we'll just make sure they went all the way down. Whoops. Let's see if I can get there. All right, let's see. I think it's further down. What was it? 56? I don't remember what it was. 5640, I guess. All right. So it's got hyperlinks for everything, and if I just click on one, it gives me the path. And there's that folder right there. And so it works. And so I'm going to do one other example, because who cares how long this video is? You can always speed through it. But here's the one where I'm going to limit the number of cycles fewer than the number of folders. So I'm going to go down to 1,000. And so what it'll do is it'll go through the 1,000. Once it gets to 1,000, it stops, but it'll still make the hyperlinks for those 1,000 folders. And so it'll get somewhere through the second level and then stop. I don't think it ever gets to the third level. Yeah, I got up to 31. And so it goes through, it's making the hyperlinks, and as you can see, there's gaps because it only made 1,000 hyperlinks basically. So it seems like it's working pretty smooth on my end. And then to get rid of it, I think this takes a couple minutes, but I'll let the video run while this is going. So it's going to go through and just remove all those folders off the hard drive and clean it off. And this just lets us see progress. I'm going to make sure that it's, well, let's see. When I get done, my recycle bin should still be empty, I think. If there is anything in there, it's going to be from something else. All right, so let's see here. It's got to get up to, I think it'll end up at 9. I think it goes through, it counts the first digit in order or something. So I think it takes longer to remove the folders than it takes to actually make them. But anyway, when this gets done, I'll post the video. There'll be a link, and then I'll put this workbook up there so you can actually use it, and it'll be cleaned up so it doesn't have anything in column A or in the hyperlinks side. Just keep letting it go, I guess. So actually, if your computer's pretty quick, you don't need to do that delay every 500 cycles. Mine, I do it. It probably adds, it adds about 10, 20 seconds to the process, I suppose. All right, so we'll save this. I'll post the workbook. My recycle bin's got stuff in it.